expectations for the Dayton Flyers year in and year out for good reason. There's no doubt. I mean, and good to see them back in the NCAA tournament last year because, I mean, think about it, Coach, right? I mean, this is going to be the 8th year for head coach Anthony Grant. The tremendous job that he's done, but it's just a one tournament. But now, granted, in 2020, when it all got shut down, they had one of the best teams in the nation. Right.
They were a national contender.
Top and so then to not even have an opportunity to see what that season could have been like. So tough, right? But I mean, now they're back in it. Let's not forget about Javon Bennett, who really kind of held that team together last year as a guard because of the injury to Malachi Smith, who's another incredible player who's now back this year. I mean, we didn't even talk about those two guys.
No, Smith to me is a great story. Getting him back and allowing him to experience college basketball. That's really what we're all doing. I also like the intentionalness, if that's a word, of fifth-year guys. They make a difference. They really make a difference.
Good. We could use that. Yeah. How about you?
I'm in the 5th year. I did 7 years, so I was super, super duper intentional.
You must have started when you were 17 because you're young looking wise.
Stop it, Coach.
Back to the press conference. Let's hear from the women's side now here for the Dayton Flyers.
Student athlete Ivy Wolf and head coach Tamika Williams-Jeter to the dais. Coach, if you could just give us an opening statement about your team and the upcoming season. Thank you.
Of course, just like everybody else here, great time to be in DC, a great time to be in the A10 and be a part of women's basketball right now. So we're really excited. We have added 8 people to our roster, 5 transfers and 3 freshmen. So in a lot of ways, we're a completely different team, but very talented, added some winning experience, added some kids who've played in conference championships, Elite 8 and Sweet 16s. So we're really excited about our additions and added some talented kids as well and brought in some young ones. So we're really excited going into non-conference season and, of course, being the best team we can be and putting the best product out there by the time we get to A10.
Thank you, Coach. We're now open for questions.
Tamika, Zach Weiss, Atlantic10.com. Have to ask you, in addition to that winning time that you built, what kind of traits were you looking for this year's Flyers to make sure that that next jump is taken?
Definitely some experienced kids. We have added Ricky Harris, a transfer from Ohio State, who played in Elite 8, Sweet 16, and has won multiple Big Ten championships. So she gives us some talent, some versatility, some passing, and some competitive grit. And just some experience. We also added Nicole Stevens, a point guard, which we needed some help in, who is super high IQ kid from Columbia, played an NCAA tournament, multiple conference championships, and it's a different feel and vibe in our gym now, having just added those 2 with Ivy. They were eating breakfast the other day, called me up, and I didn't know, they're meeting after our first little scrimmage we had against our male practice players. And they're really taking that leadership and that ownership of the team very serious this year. And that's something we didn't have and something we needed to add. We need to get a little bit more talented. And we did that by adding our 3 other transfers. And the 2 to the 3 freshmen we brought in will be ready to play right away. So we'll look totally different, besides maybe 2 or 3 players in a good way.
Chris Powell, Couch Coach Live. Coach, last year, what were some positive takeaways from last year that you'll carry on into this upcoming season?
I think our start was pretty good last year in non-conference. Then we had some injuries. Had Ivy in and out a little bit. Having your best player being out was tough. Mariah in and out a little bit. Destiny Bohannon kind of shut down at times. So you had a very erratic roster towards the middle of the season. But I think how we finished was strong. Playing against Rhode Island, we've been blown out every time we've played them. Rightfully so. They've been very talented, very good, very experienced. Our last time out had a great showing against St. Bonaventure and then played Rhode Island to the wire for who we had been in previous years. That was huge for us going into this season. Doubling our wins was huge going into our second season. This year, we want to really make a statement. And I think we have the talent on the roster now to do that and the experience on the roster to do that.
Ivy, for you, what did you learn in year 1 with this program, and how has that made you better for this season?
Yeah, coming in as a transfer was tough, but I think last year, the coaching staff did a great job in the individual skill workouts and things like that. So kind of got my feet wet last year, ready to get the ball rolling this year. And we're excited. We're putting in new things, obviously with new players, but excited to get the season started.
Tamika, for you, you have Shannon and Eve, who are both steady returners that both seem to find their feet a little bit as the season continued. Just how have the two of them, with different experience levels, of course, grown together, and how do you expect them to take jumps?
Well, Ifiala, I think if you watched us late in the season, had a great rush second half of A10 play. As a post, she was Rookie of the Week, 1 week, from a kid who's had a lot of experience. She's doing well. Played a scrimmage, and she's making hook shots and doing things, running the floor like a deer, really taking on her sophomore season. So I really think she'll put an imprint, especially by the time we get to A10. Shannon Willers is our steady Eddie. You know, she's a kid who does little things, can get open, can shoot a little bit. And then I think there's one you're forgetting about is Ariana Smith. She was top 10 in rebounding all year in the country. So to add that to the A10 is huge, to say that we have that in that conference, and so in our conference. And so I think those three together bringing something. And then we have a freshman that'll come in. We call her Baby Jokic, Molly O'Riordan from Barrington, Ohio. Shoot the three ball a little bit. She can play some pick and pop, play with her back to the basket. Super high IQ kid, about 6'3", who adds that versatility to our roster as well.
Ivy, not to channel Allen Iverson, but I want to talk about practice for a second. Just if I could ask you about just what the level has been, just comparatively, just competing against those male practice players, but knowing that it's so much more competitive, that growth is there, and you see that intensity on a daily basis.
Yeah, our energy looks totally different this year in practice. Every drill is competitive, and again, they don't have to harp on us or tell us to get on the line because we're not talking or being loud and stuff like that. So the energy in the gym is different, and I think our mentality and attitude going into the season is a lot better than it was last year. So yeah, we have some competitive kids, so that makes practice fun, and we get a lot more out of it. And sometimes we get in a little bit of fights and stuff on the court, but they're usually handled before we leave practice. So it just makes it fun. You know, practices are going by faster. It's like, what, 2 hours is done already? So yeah, it's fun.
You should have asked her about the Wolf of the Week. Week of the Wolf, I mean. We had a Week of the Wolf where I challenged Ivy to talk more. And I put it on the practice plan, so she had to look at it every day. And every 5 to 10 minutes through practice, how's Ivy doing? She talking? You know, they'd had to give the gladiator thumbs up or here, you know, or there. And we actually had some, Nicole Stevens gave her one of these one time. So, or we were going to get on the line and run. I think Ivy doesn't give herself credit of how big of a leader she is and how much the team does follow her. And I think this year is her year to really experience that. And she's got 2 people, Nicole and Ricky Harris, to her left and right, that can really help her out with that. So she became very talkative. She was very vocal that week, and it's really helped us out, trajecting in the right direction.
Coach, if you could take me through just what you see in the conference as a whole, just what you think from top to bottom that either yourself or fans can expect in general.
I'm a Big Ten at A10 women's basketball right now. It's no better time to be in this conference. Very strong non-conference, great showing in non-conference last year. What a spectacular show we put on in our conference championship. Great facility, great atmosphere, sold out crowd, very intense. It was hot in there. So how we finished the season last year resonates. I'm super excited. I think we have really, really, really good players in the A10, and we have great coaching. Any night you can see anything. I go play Aaron in Richmond. It's a positionless basketball type of routine with lots of threes, right? If you guard them small, they're going to post you up. Very tough team to play against. Davidson, she's going to switch everything and muddy the water, right? I go to St. Louis, she's going to defend and try to take everything away from Ivy Wolf. So being a young coach coming in such a great conference, you learn a lot in 2 years. And I've grown a lot as a head coach playing in this conference. So I'm most excited about competing and winning and putting a product out there that can really be competitive, because what it's shown, if you're really competitive to A10, you're one of the best teams in the country. So I'm super excited to play. We put on a great show and conference play. Everybody watched. People called me left and right and said how great it looked on TV and how competitive the games were. We had so many overtimes. We had some upsets. You had everything you want in a conference championship. And to be about part of women's sports right now, it's time. So these young women get to play at a very crucial time. So super excited about the season and ready to go.
All right, looks like we're out of time. Thank you very much, Coach. And Ivy, good luck this season.
All right, good to hear from the Flyers there. Boy, we had questions from the media asking about practice. This is Atlantic 10 Media Day, Coach. We're talking about practice?
Well, you know what? You know what? No one in Philly ever questioned whether or not Allen Iverson practiced ice, because you know what? Every night he played.
Yep.
And he put up numbers. I can't imagine what he would have put up if he had practiced.
That's great stuff. Okay, we never miss an opportunity to bring that one up. Tamika Williams-Jeter and the Flyers, I know you had some thoughts there.
Yeah, I mean, I just love the experience that they brought in. We've talked about bringing in transfers with experience, but then you're bringing in transfers who have winning cultures, who come from a winning championships. Ricky Harris at Ohio State has won conference championships, has competed in NCAA tournaments. She has gotten to the Sweet 16. Nicole Stevens with Columbia. They received an at-large bid last year to the NCAA tournament, and she played some minutes. And so you're bringing in transfers who also know how to win. The impact that they're going to have from a leadership standpoint is going to be huge for Coach Jeter.